Hey guys, how are you today? Welcome to my channel. Um, Now I'm here to preview the Monte Carlo Masters final. The semi-finals have just concluded, so I can talk about that for a while. If you want to hear about what happened to Nadal and Djokovic and why they went out, it's in my video, my semi-final preview. So I'm talking about the semi-finals that have just happened a bit, but a lot about what happened to Nadal and Djokovic. I've also got a preview of the entire clay court season, so you could go and check out that video too. But for now, I'm going to get into the final, and I'm going to preview that. But we'll start with reviewing the semi-finals, which have just concluded. Okay. So basically, what has happened? Um, the first semi-final we saw Stefanos Tsitsipas against Dan Evans. Now the problem was Dan Evans, his serve and volley game, it didn't work too well. His serve wasn't really getting through the slow court here to cause any kind of impact. So that was a bit of a problem. And then getting to the net didn't work. When he tried to hit from the back of the court and be aggressive, it wasn't really going through the court. Didn't have any impact on Tsitsipas as I predicted. Because of the slow court, Tsitsipas had time to set up for his big forehands, which those shots were going through the court with ease. Once he has time to set up on the forehand, which he has a lot of time on a slow court, he can hit through any court no matter how slow, which that was the case. But Evans doesn't have a situation on a slow court where he has time to set up for a big forehand or even a backhand. That as long as he's got the time to set up for the big stroke, he can hit through any court. That's the case for Tsitsipas. Evans doesn't have that. So Evans was always struggling to end the point, get through the point, and Tsitsipas wasn't. He just needs time to set up, which he gets on the slow court. And then with that time, he can just hit through and get through a slow court and control the point. And I think that weapon of the forehand and having time to set up for shots on a slow court to maximize his power and knowing that he can get through any court, that's what really won him the game. Also, his serve was still a bit better than um, Dan Evans, but really he dictated the match with his forehand. But Evans couldn't get the ball through the court, and then Tsitsipas had time to set up and dominate with the forehand. Tsitsipas was always in control of the game. When Evans tried to attack and he couldn't get through the court, he's trying to hit too hard, go for too much, and then the errors come in. But really, it was down to the fact that the normal game of Evans wasn't really getting through the court. He didn't have a weapon against Djokovic. Djokovic doesn't have that huge weapon either, so they were sort of a trade off there, and he was just a bit better. But this time you had Tsitsipas with a huge forehand, like a Nadal, like a Thiem, even like a Rublev, where he has a big weapon that's going to get through a slow court, and he has the time to set up for it on the slow court, and his forehand won it. And there was nothing Evans could do because he doesn't have that either. He couldn't get through the court, and when he tried to hit too hard and push it too much for power that he didn't have, that's when you saw errors coming. So it was either he was being controlled and moved around and bossed by the Tsitsipas forehand and the serve too at times, or Evans was trying to go for too much and force power he doesn't have and create errors. But it was either Evans' errors, but mostly Tsitsipas forehand and the fact he had time to set up on the slow court and can get through any court, and Evans doesn't have that, so he's just overpowered basically, and even a better serve today. Just a complete domination. So the final score was straight sets to Tsitsipas, 6-2, 6-1, so an absolute belting there. So Tsitsipas moves through to the final. Rublev against Rudd. The final score in that one was 6-3, 7-5 in favor of Rublev. Like I said, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, like I said before before, like in my preview, like with Rublev just able to just hammer it consistently rally, but not just rally like guys who are just getting the ball back, rally with power. So he's almost hitting the power of those big hitters that ended in one shot, but he's patient. He can hit with that kind of level of power, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then with patience. So the combination of power they can get through any court, but patience, willing to hit it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times until he gets through the defense. That's what you need on clay. And a slow clay court like this, power to get through it, but also patience. You may have to hit it many times over, but he's willing to hit it as many times as he needs to. He's willing to be patient. He's willing to be there with the long haul, but all those shots in a long rally are an extreme power, like the big guys who just take risks, but he's not taking risks. He's going to hit them all day. And he was able to hit through this court so much to even take Nadal's time away on clay, get through Nadal's defense and get the ball even through a clay court when Nadal can't even set up to hit a forehand. And it's not like you weather the storm because he's trying to end it and they're all hitting the line. No, he's just hitting with that kind of power, but being patient. Whether it's 3, 4, 5, or 10 shots, the power just keeps coming. The ball's shorter until he gets a safe ball and just ends it. And if he's getting through Nadal's defense, taking Nadal's time away, Nadal can't set up with a forehand. Casper Ruud, who plays a sim style, wasn't going to do any better because he's just a lesser version of Nadal anyway. And it was basically he brought the same thing again, played someone with a similar style of Nadal, but a lesser version. So the result was Rublev won by more easily than he did by Nadal because he's playing against the same style and Nadal style, but a lesser version. So with Nadal, he's winning in 3 sets, but with the lesser version, he wins in 2 sets. And that's basically it. Like he didn't have anything extra than Nadal had. He was the same style, basically exactly, but just not as good. So Rublev, note, if I repeat this, it's the exact same style. I need to repeat the same thing. Even if he plays as well as Nadal did yesterday, I'll still win. But what if he doesn't play as well? Because Rudd hasn't proven that he's as good on clay as Nadal. So that's the best case. He has the match of his life and plays like Nadal on clay. But he still loses because, look, Rublev beat Nadal. But then if you can't do that, which is not quite at Nadal's level, then he loses worse. And that's what you saw today, that Rublev hitting consistently, patient, willing to stick in the long rallies, but willing to hammer those shots with power and hammer as many shots with patience to win the rally, getting through Rudd's defense like he did with Nadal, hitting the ball through the court, taking the time away of Casper Rudd, and Casper Rudd not having much time to set up and hit those forehands. Really, the first set, it was a domination for Casper Rudd. The second set, then when he tried to when it was basically the match was all over, Rublev relaxed, played poorly for a while, let Rudd back in it, but then when it got back on serve, he was able to take it for the second time and win the second set 7-5. So we end up with a straight set 6-3, 7-5 for Rublev, and now we've got Tsitsipas and Rublev in your Monte Carlo Masters final tomorrow or today, depending on when you watch this. We saw them play last year in Hamburg. Rublev won in a close match and Tsitsipas won at the French Open. We saw them play in Rotterdam this year and Rublev won. Yeah, Rublev won that. I believe it was straight sets. I'll just get it for you. But yeah, like I really felt like in that match, he played quite well. No, sorry, semi-final. So it was 6-3, 7-6 to Rublev in the Rotterdam semi-finals, their last meeting. And then, like I said, on clay, they went one match each Rublev winning it at Hamburg, and then Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas at the French Open quarterfinals. But I feel like in this type of game, like I've said, Rublev has the power to hit this, to be patient in the rallies and hit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots until you win it. Um, he'll be able to get the ball through the court to take the time away on Tsitsipas's forehand. So he doesn't have time for that, like he did with Rudd and like he did with Nadal. And then when he's doing that, when he's hammering these balls in the rally with power, Tsitsipas in defense isn't going to be as good as Casper Rudd or Nadal was. So he's going to get the ball through Tsitsipas's defense even better than he did with Nadal and Casper Rudd. And Tsitsipas is the guy that needs to be controlling the point and aggressive. He's not really a good defender against a guy like Rublev is just going to be hammering it around. So if they get in long rallies, it's going to be Rublev hammering the ball. He can get through Nadal and Rudd's defense, so it'll be easy Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas doesn't have the ability to turn defense into offense like Nadal on clay. So uh, when he's on the movement, a defensive position, that's his weakness. And then against Rublev, a guy who can get through Nadal or Rudd's defense and even take their time away, it'll be easier because Tsitsipas is not a good defender. He's a big guy. That's his weakness, and he's nowhere near as good defender as Nadal on clay. But if he could even just keep hammering more and more power until he gets past Nadal, it'll be easy with Tsitsipas. Now, as far as him having a forehand, well, he's able to get the ball through the court to take the time away. So Nadal didn't have time to set up forehands. Neither did Rudd, and I don't think Tsitsipas will either. So he'll take the time away on the forehand like he did with the other two, get the ball past the defense more easy because that's not Tsitsipas's game. He's nowhere near a defender on clay like Nadal or even Casper Rudd. So, right, Tsitsipas's only chance is if he basically says, "I've got a better serve than the other guys, than even Rublev, right? I've got more power to finish points quickly. So if I can stop there being long rallies where Rublev doesn't have time to hit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots and just control the point and then have an easier time getting past Tsitsipas' defense because he's not a defender like Nadal. To avoid that, he's got to say, if there's a long rally, that's how it's going to go. So I have to shorten the points and try to hammer and win it in 1, 2, 3 shots. Take risk, go for the line, and then not allow Rublev to hit those 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots in the rally with power until he gets past the defense. To basically say from the very first shot, I'm going to hammer it. I'm going to go for the line. I'm going to end the point. He's never going to get rhythm to hit like all these powerful shots back to back. He'll never get in a rally and find rhythm to hit 3, 4, 5, 8 shots consecutively until he wins it. Because I'm going to shorten the point. I'm going to take his time away. He'll never be able to get involved in a rally, and he'll never be able to hammer these powerful shots one after the other and control Tsitsipas's weaker defense, right? Because he's saying, firstly, you won't have time to get in a rally, and you won't have time to use your powerful shots where you hammer it one after the other, because I'll be hammering the ball so fast you won't have time to set up for your power. Number one. Number two, you won't be able to get involved in the rally and find rhythm. So that's what Tsitsipas has got to do. Know that Rublev wants to win with power as far as 3, 5, 7 shots until he gets past the defense, but say, I'm not going to let it get that far. I'm going to end the points quickly, and I'm going to be hitting the ball from the first shot really hard that you don't have time to set up to use your power. I'm going to serve well. I'm going to attack your second serve. That's going to be the game. But the problem is if your game is you have to shorten the points and you can't be in a rally and you're using serve and you're taking time away and you can't have Rublev hit 3, 4, 5, 8 shots of power in a rally because you need to end it quicker. You need to stop him, have time to set up on the power. It's much harder to end points quickly if you can't be in those long rallies on clay, right? It's much harder to stop a guy like Rublev having time to set up for the power and get in the rally with these back-to-back power shots on clay. It's much harder to end points short. It's harder to take a guy's time away who has power. It's harder to use your serve. It's harder to attack second serve, and all those things that Tsitsipas are going to do, playing on clay is going to make it worse. And he might get to the point where, if he wants to stop Rublev hitting 3, 5, or 8 shots in a row of power in a rally, and end the points quickly, and not and be ending it so quickly and hitting it hard and aggressive that Rublev never has time to get in rhythm or hit his power and end the points quickly. Um, and then the serve and all of those type of things. Like I said, for him to execute that game on clay, it's much harder to do because the ball's going to slow down off the surface, and Rublev's going to have more time to use his power and get in the rally. So Tsitsipas might have to go so hard and so close to the line and take so many risks to avoid those rallies where Rublev's using his power that he may make a lot of errors. So it's basically going to be a game where Tsitsipas is going to have to go for aces, go for lines, and hit it hard, and hope that they all go in. Hope he has a day where he just shortens points, goes after it, goes for the line, and they all go in. And Rublev never gets rallies and never gets time to set up, because the slower the surface, the harder you have to hit, the closer towards the line. So he's going to have to go for a lot of low percentage shots, and he's just going to have to get hot. If Tsitsipas does that, he can win. But I just say the amount of risk he's going to have to do to take Rublev's time, to stop Rublev getting into a rally, to stop him hitting 3, 5, 7 shots on a court this slow, a clay court, cold weather, all of that is so ridiculous. He'll have to go too hard, too close to the line. I don't think he'll be able to get enough of his serve. That Rublev will be able to get in the rallies. And when Rublev gets in the rally and uses his power, hits 3, 5, 7, 8 shots, whatever, and doing it against Tsitsipas, who is not a defender like the last two opponents, it'll be way easier for. And then Tsitsipas can't turn defense into offense, doesn't have great defense, and he's playing against a guy can even hit for a Nadal on this court. So Tsitsipas defense has no chance. And like I said, the only chance is going for the lines, but this slow sort of clay court doesn't suit someone using the serve, shortening the point coming into the net. Tsitsipas would have a better chance on a fast surface, but even last time they played on an indoor hard court, when he tried that, he still couldn't take Rublev's time away. And when he did, he was taking too much risk and they were going out. When he was more safe, Rublev was able to get in the rally and use his power and expose Tsitsipas' defense. So it's going to be even harder to attack and shorten the point and take Rublev's time on a slow clay court. So the fact that he couldn't do it in Rotterdam, he won't do it in a slow clay court. I'm saying Rublev's going to get this one. I'll give it 3 sets, but because I think one game that if he really attacks and goes for the line and take risks, I think one set that'll come off, but he won't be able to keep it up. The rest of the time, he's going to be in a choice to either go for too much, Tsitsipas in effort to shorten the point and take Rublev's time away, and because the court's so slow, having to go for too much power, too close to the line, a lot of errors, or realizing that there's too many errors, he can't persist. He has to rally with Rublev, then Rublev pushing him around with the power, getting in long rallies, and finding it much easier to get through Tsitsipas's defense than Nadal. And Tsitsipas just pushed around by the power until it ends. And then when he doesn't want that, he's going to have to go for too much, but then that'll cause errors, so that won't work either. But there will be that one set where Tsitsipas gets hot, hits the line, possibly serves well and gets a set. But like on a slow clay court, um, aces coming to the net, shortening the point, taking Rublev's time is going to be very hard to keep up for a sustained period of time. So most of the match, he'll be trying that and he'll be going out, playing it safe and Tsitsipas, and then Rublev bossing him around with the power and just getting past his defense with ease, and then saying, no, I can't be dominated like that. So then now I'm going to have to go for and shorten the point, but it just being too hard to do and too much risk and errors. And then going back and saying, I can't go for that. I've got to pull it back in. And then Rublev back to controlling the point. So you'll be either bossed around in the point and not enough defense to do anything, or saying, I can't allow myself to be, I'm going to go for too hard, too much power, too close to the line, because that's how hard it is to shorten points on a court slow and then the errors. So that's what I'm saying. And then neither will work. When he goes for too much, Tsitsipas makes errors. When he's safe, Rublev's controlling a rally, so he'll lose two sets like that. But one set will get hot, hit the line, I would say, and then he'll get a set. But Rublev's going to take this. He's going to be your Monte Carlo Masters 2021 champion. I'd say in 3 sets, but that's my preview for the Monte Carlo Masters final. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Have a great day or night. Check back on Monday. I should do a review of the final and preview Barcelona and Belgrade. But please subscribe and just give me the thumbs up. And be back here on Monday for my review and preview of Barcelona and Belgrade. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Be back here on Monday for my next video. Bye for now.